Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we have the new Nomad release. I am super excited for this. I'm always super excited. If you guys come across my video and you're watching for the new Nomad release, I'm always super excited. I just am. It's literally like Christmas Day whenever I see that package come in the mail. Christmas Day. I'm going to show you this palette. Let me tell you, if you haven't already seen a sneak peek, it's literally different than anything else that they carry. We're not just going to do a look today and show you a palette and do swatches and all that good stuff. I'm going to go over my top 5 favorite Nomad palettes because if you are new here, you may not know this, but every time the new one comes out, it becomes my favorite. It just keeps topping the last one. I make a joke about it because it seems like I just keep saying that every single time. But what I've decided to do this time, before we get into the new palette, is I'm going to show you my top 5 Nomad palettes out of my entire collection, which is a huge collection. I believe I have every palette that Nomad has made. I may have missed one, but I'm not sure. Anyways, out of every single one, I have my top 5 here. And after we get done and at the end of this video, after I use the new one, if I decide this is in my top 5, I have to get rid of one of the ones that are in my top 5, which is going to be extremely difficult because even getting the top 5 was very, very difficult. So this is a little bit of a challenge on top of everything. And we'll talk about and show the palettes that are in my top 5 and go over why they're my favorite and give you a peek inside of each one. Some of them they probably still do carry and some of them may not. So if you guys are interested in seeing what my top 5 plus the new release and a look, then just keep watching. I'm so glad you guys decided to stay. All right, guys, I'm going to go over my top 5. We're not going to do swatches or anything like that. I'm just going to talk about it, why it's my favorite, and show you the top 5. I'm going to get that done first, and then we'll look at the new release. We'll talk about where the location is at and all the information and swatch it and do a look. And then at the end, we'll reassess and see if this one's going to knock out one of the top 5. Okay, so just to go over in no particular order, even though I know my top 1, I'm not going to put these in order. It's just not going to happen. It's too difficult. Okay, so one of the top 5 is the Haunted Europe. The packaging is absolutely amazing. They just keep kicking up that packaging just a notch, and every time the packaging just blows me away. Love, love. This is like a cool tone eyeshadow dream, and if you know me, you know that I love my cool tones, but there are some warm tones in there. You got the golds and the orange and some of the chocolate browns, but a lot of the cool tones that I absolutely love. I love this palette. I use this palette a lot and I reach for it because you can do a really toned down neutral look, or you can amp it up with some of those shimmers. Everyday looks all day long with this palette. Definitely one of my top 5. Another one in that top 5 is the Nomad Whistler Snow Lodge. I love this one. This one had a special shade in it that quickly became one of my favorite shades, and it's Ski Bum. And that, I love the colors of this. I love greens. If you know me, I love my greens. And by the way, if you know me, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. And I so incredibly appreciate that you chose to spend some time with me today and watch this video. If I don't know you and you do love makeup and talking about makeup and seeing new releases, please subscribe. I would love to have you here. I'd love to say hello to you in the comments. So leave a comment down below. When this shade right here came in, I was in love. Baby blue to pink. It has a little bit of lavender in it. Oh, stunning, stunning. You can pair that up with the browns to have a pop. You could put it with the orange, the greens, this little mint number here with that. And oh, just yummy. Love this palette.
I said I wasn't going to swatch, and I had to just show you that one. Okay. All right.
The next one, I love the color palette of this palette. I have tried hard not to use, I mean, you can see my brush strokes, but I've been trying to keep the little, because the little imprints on here are so cute. So I've tried to get my brush into the side. I love the little pumpkin there. You have apples in the little apple basket. You have apple cider. You have music notes. Like, these are just the cutest. You see, I put the brush over here where I wouldn't mess up the little guy. And so, yeah, I've used almost every single color in this palette, but I love this palette. I love love that. It is fall. It is completely fall in a palette, and I love the colors in this. It just sings to my heart. And I would say the only thing that would make this a strong contender for even maybe first place would be multichromes. If you put some multichromes or some pressed glitters in there, I'd be like, oh, I would not be able to tell you whether or not if this was my number one or the one I'm about to show you is my number one. Okay. So yeah, that would be the only thing I would change. These are beautiful shimmers.
But for me, some multichromes or some pressed glitters, sold. Sold.
All right, another one in my top 5 is the Verona, and I know not everybody's a pink fan. Not everybody was a fan of the style of the palette. I love this palette. I love the style of it. I am not a huge pink and red fan. I'm not, but
that cool tone side, sold.
And I love combining the two. Combining a look with majority of my cool tones and then a pop of pink or a pop of red, and then using some of these shimmers that are on this side. I have created some looks out of this palette that I have just loved. And so for sure in the top 5. And then last but not least, and if you're surprised, then you must not know me very well. But my number one palette, and this is in order, is the last launch that Nomad did, and that is the Royal Europe palette. And this has the multichrome goodness in it. The multichromes are amazing. The mattes are, it's always amazing. I've done several looks, and I continue to use this palette. And as you can tell, I love this palette. This palette is, okay, I'm going to break my rule again. Just amazing. I might have dug a little too deep into that one. And like just, yes, it's just stunning. It's just so pretty. And the mattes are beautiful, and they pair up beautifully. Like, they're not super bright. They're more of a, to where you don't feel like you can wear this, you know, just with one color with the pop of the multichrome. They're a little bit more muted colors, which I love. I love that. You know, like this blue is not like an ink blue. It is more of a toned down blue where you could wear that all over and then put a pop on top, and or you can deepen it up, or you can do multicolors and then do your multichrome. Or just do an all multichrome look, because you know I like to do those too. All right. But yes, this is my number one. So these are the 5 that are my all-time favorite. So if I want to claim that this is now one of my favorites,
it needs to knock out one of the 5.
Are you guys ready to see the new launch? I was so excited to see this. Are you ready to see the location? It is Okavango Safari. Oh my goodness. Isn't that beautiful? That cover, that's like a dream to be on a safari. It is the Okavango Delta. Look at the little card that comes with it. I love elephants, so that is going up on my wall. It says, "Welcome to Safari, an experience like no other. We are roaring with excitement to celebrate the magnificent Okavango Delta and her beautiful colors. Enjoy creating your own safari looks that are majestic as the animals that inspired this palette. Thank you so much for your support, Felicia and Auntie Nomad Cosmetics. New Okavango Safari Intense Eyeshadow Palette. The destination, feel the rumble, hear the crash, see the herd. Welcome to Botswana's Okavango Delta, an awe-inspiring animal kingdom, the natural oasis that springs to life with the seasonal floodwaters, is home to some of the world's most endangered mammals, sustaining the largest population of elephants on Earth and robust communities of rhinos, hippos, lions, and African wild dogs. A safari to the Okavango creates once-in-a-lifetime experience that supports conservation of this vast area of precious wildlife. The color story, Majestic Kingdom, expressive safari hues, colors inspired by Okavango's magnificent creatures, from golden lions to green crocodiles to gray elephants and dark brown buffaloes, 9 majestic mattes, 3 stunning shimmers, 3 animal print shimmers, and swirls that encase in a small touch leopard print palette. The cause, and if you don't know already, if you don't know about Nomad, they travel around the world and they get inspiration from the places that they visit. They create the color based off of what they see, what best encompasses what they are experiencing at each destination. Then they pick a cause to support in each area. So they'll find a cause that helps support that area where they are visiting, and then they will go and take a percentage of the proceeds to go towards that cause. So this launch's cause goes to the Wilderness Wildlife Trust. We are so excited to help protect the majestic animals and the communities of the safari by supporting the Wilderness Wildlife Trust. Let's open this up and take a look on the inside. Also, on the back it says Okavango, Delta, Botswana. The Great Migration Trail is the coordinates, and then the inspiration is the Big Five. It's like every single time you get one of their palettes and it's a destination like this, it's almost like you are getting an experience or a piece of the experience of that trip. You get a feel for what they see and what stood out to them whenever they were in this area. And it's just so neat. And just even reading all the little things, each one of these launches are just so complex because there's all these little tidbits of things that you can read about this area, and then being immersed in the colors and then being able to hear why those colors inspired them. It's just an experience whenever you get these launches. It really is. And I just love it. You guys, this palette is, it's furry. Oh my goodness. I love it. It has a soft felt. That is so cool. Safari Nomad. Oh, that is just so, so cute. Okay, let's take a look. This is my kind of neutral. Like if somebody wants to talk about a neutral palette, a lot of people talk about straight browns as a neutral. I have an olive undertone to my skin tone. And so my kind of neutral palette always has greens in it. I love green eyeshadow. And so this is my kind of story right here. This is my kind of neutral palette. Now, I do not use a lot of neutral looks in my videos because I do love playing with color whenever I can, but I do wear neutral eye looks from time to time. And this is literally what I would pull for, is a green inspired neutral palette. This is it. I love the little special shades, and I'm super excited to swatch those and see what they look like. I'm going to at least do two separate looks with this palette because I want to go super neutral with a pop, and then I want to use those greens also with another shimmer. We're doing two looks. Let's go ahead and get into the swatches, and that way we can move on to the look next. Okay guys, I swatched all the mattes on the back side of my hands just so that you could see them. There is the mattes, loving it. Completely fits the theme. And then here is your shimmers. And so those ones that were swirled, like this one here, that was like the white and black, like zebra. And then you have the roaring lions, which is this one here, which is really, really pretty. And then you have the one that was swirled that is the Nile crocodiles. And it's like this golden green shift, which is really cool. This one wasn't swirled, but this definitely has a shift to it. It's kind of like it kind of has like a very soft rose color amongst like an orangey coppery look. It's really, really pretty. And so, see if you can see the rose little shift, but very, very, very pretty shimmers. Goes along amazingly with the mattes, and I am super excited to do two looks with this palette. So when you see me next, we'll be all zoomed in and we'll get started on the first look. Okay guys, you're all zoomed in. I'm going to go in with Pack of Wild Dogs, and I'm going to put that right in the outer corner. And I'm just starting it out, and how I like to apply my shadows is I get the pigment up on my brush, and then I just kind of dab and a little bit of a drag, drag it out a little bit at a time, because I pack my eyeshadows. I like full pigmentation. I'm not the type of person that likes to wear a super soft eye look. I like a little bit of depth and definition in my eye looks, even if they are a neutral eye look. I still like a little bit of depth. I will always blend out the edges. I always blend my colors together. But as far as applying and getting, I'm not going to just go right in and start blowing out every single shadow that I lay down. I like to get that color placed where I want it, and then I go in and I buff out the edges, and then I buff the colors together. I do a lot of blending. It's just not the same way that you normally see everybody else do it. It's a little different from everybody else's application, but that's okay. That's how I do mine. And you know what? How you apply your eyeshadow is also fine. Like it's the way that you like to apply it. Okay, I think what I'm going to do with this one, with the neutral one, I think I'm going to do a little bit of a halo eye look and maybe use a couple of the different shimmers on the inside. I'm going to go ahead and place that dark brown that I'm working with. It's not super dark, but you know, the darker brown, the Pack of Wild Dogs shade, and I'm going to go ahead and put that on the inner corner as well. I have small hooded eyes and I have almond shaped eyes, which are very difficult to get any kind of eye look that shows a lot because they're hooded, they're small, and they're almond shaped. It is hard. I don't have much real estate to work with, is what I'm trying to say. And so when I am applying my eyeshadow, even if you were trying to do it exactly how I was doing it, like following through with a tutorial or something like that, it's not going to be the same, because unless you have the exact same shape of eyes as I do, then it's not going to come out exactly the way that I'm doing it. You have to modify it for your shape of eyes, and you can get the techniques down. But as far as your shape of eyes, you should modify that to what looks best with your shape of eyes. This is my crease. You know, you see that crease right there. That's my crease, and it's a hooded eye. It's going to cover my entire lid when I'm looking down like this here. It's going to cover the entire lid. If that's the only place I place the shimmer, then I shouldn't even put shimmer on. You know what I mean? Shouldn't even bother. So I am always going to take it up further. It's always going to go up further. Now, I'm not starting way up high because otherwise I'll be in my brows by the time I'm blending it out. So I start lower, but we're going to be adding other colors in there or buffing this out to make it go even higher. And then when I go to put on that shimmer, the shimmer is going to go up higher as well. I'm going to take a smaller brush, and also the size of your brush matters whenever you have smaller eyes. You want to have those smaller brushes as well to be able to work with your eyes without blowing it all over the place. And then where you want some definition, you're not going to get it because you have a big brush going in there and just blowing it out and blending it all together. I'm going to go into Moremi Game Reserve, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Moremi is what it looks like. I'm going to take that over top of the edge of the brown, but a little bit off of it because I don't have much real estate. So if I keep going inward, I am going to lose where I'm going to put my shimmer. So I'm taking it to where you can see it on the outer edge, but blending it back into that brown shade. And I'm just showing you this one eye look, but my video will be way too long if I show you everything. So I will do most of this eye look on camera and just kind of explain to you what I'm doing. And then the second look, I will not explain because I know that your time is valuable and we wouldn't do that to you. Okay, so I'm kind of going in and blending that. And the other thing I do with halo eyes that a lot of people don't do is I'm going to go back in with that brown and I'm going to just connect. See that? I connect my halo eyes. And I'll go in and this will get all blended out. So right now it's just like, this is my pretend crease. See that right there? That's my pretend crease. Because if I had real estate, that's where I'd want it. But I don't. So we make that illusion, okay? And so that we can see eyeshadows, that's where we place it. Okay, going back in and doing the same thing on this other eye. And as you see, I am placing the color where I want it and I'm dragging it over. But right now, I'm not concentrating on super blending it out. I just want that color to go where I want it to go and we'll blend later. This is placement time. And I'm going back in without even having any additional product on that brown brush because I don't want it to be super dark whenever I connect the two. I kind of want it blown out up there because again, I just want enough color to create that fake crease that we're trying to do. I don't know about you, but when I'm doing my second eye, it's always going to be different than the first one. So as you can see, I went a little further up. This is a little more contained. I'm going to be blending them out, but just so I can feel better about it because I have a little bit of OCD issues, I'm going to go ahead and clean it up for now, even though I'm going to go back and blow it all out again. But that's what I do.
When you subscribe here, I always say, you knew what you signed up for. Because I'll be up front. I'll tell you everything, all the stuff. You'll get to know me very well. Those strange things that I do, you'll know.
Now I am going to go ahead and I'm going to go in with a little bit of gel eye base, and I'm going to put that right in the center. Go ahead and top it with some shimmer. My gel eye base, I just put a little bit and then I tap it out. And really there's hardly anything on my brush when I go in. And I'm just going to put it all the way up at the top where I'm going to put all of the shimmer. Then what I would normally do if I didn't have on claws is I would probably use my finger, because I enjoy using my finger if I have good control of where I want to put it. But my best friend when it comes to shimmers is a sponge tip applicator. I buy these in a 250 pack from Amazon for like 11 bucks. And I've only made one order, and that was probably 2 years ago. So I reuse these. These are well made. What I suggest is that you do not full on put this in a cleanser or do soap and water. When you're using shimmer, I will toss them after a few uses, but 250 is a lot. So what I do is like I've used this one before, but once you use the shimmer, but you just take it on a regular towel and you just rub it off, and all of that shimmer will come off. And then you're just left with your sponge tip applicator. Now, if you put water on it, it's going to puff up, and a lot of times it pulls the adhesive away from the stick. And so I don't suggest that. I just suggest using it multiple times, all four sides, as many times as you can, wipe it off, and then throw it away. They are supposed to be disposable. So that's how I suggest using these, how you can get multiple uses out of them, and buying a 250 pack for 10 bucks, or 11 bucks, it's going to last you a long, long time. Okay, so I want to go in with Keystone termites first, and then we're going to put right in the center the Nile crocodiles as a pop. So we're going to just add that to where we added that base. And I am taking it all the way up to where I connected it, but I am going to go back over and, like I said, blow that all out as well. I'm going to take it a little bit into where I have that matte laid down. That's okay, because I want to blend it anyways with my brush, okay? So I'm going in, let me do the other side, and then I'll show you what we're going to do next. Okay, so that's just kind of rough, placing it where I want it. And now I'm going to go in, and I'm just going to add a little bit more thin layer of that gel base, just right in the center where I want an extra pop. And then we're going to go in with Nile crocodile. So pretty. Now that we got that laid down, so I'm going to go in with a little bit of that darker brown, the pack of wild dogs, and I'm just going to kind of go over top again, but keep it as close to that shimmer as possible so I don't take it too far up. And I'm going to do that on both sides, but then we are going to add a little bit more on the inner part as well. So I'm going to go back in, and I'm just going to add a little bit more darker on both sides, like that there. Now I'm kind of like, okay, now I can see where everything's going to be placed, and maybe I want to take it out just a little bit more, like bring that brown a little bit out a little bit more, now that I can get a good look at what shape everything is turning out to be without, taking it too far, which I am known to do, like that there. You kind of get your shape. You're continuing to shape the look of that. You may need to add a little bit more so that it's evened out. Just kind of got to look back and forth and just kind of see where it's going as you're blending. So there's that. And then I'm going to go back in with that one that did the Morini Game Reserve, which is kind of like a greenish tone. And now I'm going to just go into where I place those shimmers, and I'm going to connect that to the brown again and just kind of blend that together. And that just creates, just taking the time to do those little things really gives you a seamless look, because, if you just lay it down like I had it, like this one here, it looks pretty. You can keep going. You slap on some mascara or some lashes and you're good to go. But just taking those few little extra steps really just makes everything so seamless. And so, it may or may not be worth it for you to do those extra steps. Okay. So that is pretty much where I am wanting that to. That's the look that I was going for. So now what I'm going to do with this look is we're going to take it up underneath. So I always take my shadow underneath my eyes. I think that running some eyeshadow up underneath the eyes is always nice, especially if you have some mature skin and you're starting to see a little bit of fine lines underneath there. It completely takes the focus off of that. You see the eyeshadow instead of any kind of fine lines underneath there. And so I always run my eyeshadow underneath my eyes. Now, I may do it a little differently than what you normally see other people do. I pick up the pigment on a brush that looks a little bit like this here, that's kind of flat, but also rounded. I love these kind of brushes for underneath the eye. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dip into that Pack of Wild Dogs, and I'm just going to dab right into the matte shadow. And I'm going to pick up that pigment on the edge of that brush. And then what I'm going to do is I always have a setting spray that really didn't work out as much as I liked it as a setting spray. And I always keep it and I use it for this. And I'm going to spray that brush. And what that does is that allows full pigmentation of that eyeshadow to come out, because I always want it to be a little bit darker. It also allows it to stay all day. And whenever I do the bottom lashes, if I don't use a setting spray, it's usually gone. It completely wears off throughout the day, no matter what kind of eyeshadow I use. But when I spray it, it stays. It stays exactly like that. Now, if I have super watery eyes or something like that, the corners might disappear. But if it's sprayed, it will last longer than if it was just plain eyeshadow placed underneath there. So this will allow it to last longer as well. Now, if you have a setting spray that kind of bothers your eyes, I wouldn't suggest using that for your shadow up underneath your eyes, because if it bothers your eyes whenever you're spraying it on your face, it will also bother your eyes when you're putting it on eyeshadow underneath your eyes. So I'm going to take that and I'm just going to dab whenever I place that down. So there's that. And see, I'm going to go into the other side without spraying it again because my brush is already nice and damp. I'm going to Honking Hippos. I'll take a little bit of that darker shade, do the same thing, spray it, and just add a little bit closer to the waterline and on back, but not all the way through. So I'm just taking that shadow and just adding a little bit more depth to that shadow if it's just not as dark as I would want it. I usually like to take a shimmer and wet it the same way I do the matte and put it right here, and then take even lighter shade of shimmer leading up to the inner corner, and then the lightest shade I like to put right in the inner corner. That's how I typically like to do that's what I'm drawn to, and that's how I usually like to do it. So I am going to switch it up, maybe not even use the same ones I used on top, but use something that complements it on the bottom. So I think what I will do with this particular look, I think I'm going to go into Mighty Buffaloes. It's kind of like a darker brown. I would probably go with something a little bit lighter typically, but I just want to use this shade and see what it looks like sprayed underneath here. And it is darker for sure, but it is sparkly, so that's pretty. It does have some mica sparkles in it, which is really pretty, and it's going to catch the light whenever my eyes move. You might not see it on camera, but you'll definitely see it in pictures and in sunlight and in person. There is some sparkles from mica. You can kind of see the sparkles from the mica, which is gorgeous. And then we're going to lighten it up. So I'm going to go into Leaping Leechoos. Leechoos. I think it's Leaping Leechoos. And that is that kind of rosy tone, orange shift looking shade. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to take that on in. And then let's go ahead and use the Nile Crocodile, that one that I have in the very center. I'm going to spray that and put that in the very center. And I may put, like, to even lighten it up even more, I may even put a little bit of whatever highlighter that I choose also. Okay, so I'm going to pop off here. I'm going to finish out this look and come back and tell you what all I used off camera. And then we will move on to look number 2, and we'll do something completely different. So I'll see you back here whenever I get completely done to talk about what I used. Okay, guys, this is my final look. I love how this turned out. I'm going to go a little bit over what I used on my face on this first look. And just want to let you know I'm using the Chanel Ultra Latent foundation, and this is in shade BD21. And then I also used a Pat McGrath Labs, and this is the Skin Fetish Divine Blush Duo in Paradise Glow, and it looks like this here. I also finished out my look with a emerald green eyeliner. I was looking through all of my eyeliners, which I have a lot, and from a few different brands, but a lot, like the whole collection of many brands. And I noticed I don't have an emerald green eyeliner, which I think is strange because I love green so much. But what I did use is P. Louise. P. Louise, the sweet and sour crisp finish paint that they sell. I love these in the waterline. So I just popped that on, and that was the perfect color. That's what I was wanting to bring out in this look. So that worked out perfectly. I did use a highlighter from Mythic Beauty House, and it is in shade Alicorn. And so it has a nice little greenish yellow gold moment shift, and that is perfect. I knew that would go perfectly with this look. I did put a little bit of that in the high point of the brow and just topped off what I had already put in the inner corner just to kind of give it a little bit more punch. And then for my lips, as you can tell, I'm wearing a gloss. And for those that know me, no, I don't wear glosses very often, but I did want to incorporate one that I do love. And so what I did is I used a Juvia's Place liner, and I used that in shade Cola, Kola. And then I actually added the lippy from Juvia's Place as well, and this is in Muted. Looks like that there. And then I grabbed my Nomad Cosmetics gloss. I do enjoy these glosses. They are not sticky or goopy or anything like that, and they don't move all around my mouth and stuff. Like, these are really nice glosses. And this shade is in Meal, and it has like a pink, but like a really soft pink, but a gold shift to it. It's so, so pretty. And it looks so good topping a brown lip. I just think that it just goes together so, so well. So I wanted to pull that out and use that as well. Yeah, I am loving this look. I love how it turned out. And so far, I would wear this kind of look every single day. This would be my everyday kind of look. And I cannot wait to do look number 2. I will save that for a different day. So you will see me wearing something different the next time I make look number 2. And I want to use a little bit of the different colors. We're going to use the green eyeshadows and then do a pop with the shimmer that I haven't used yet. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait for that look as well. So it may be a different day for me the next time you see me, but it'll only take you a second to get there, because as soon as I get off the screen, we'll be on to the look number 2. Okay, guys, we are on to look number 2, and I'm going to try to do a little bit of green action and probably use a little bit of these orangey looking shimmers here and see what kind of look we come up with. This time, I won't be walking you through each step that I'm doing on my look just to save on time. So I will let you guys listen to some music and come up with a look. And at the end, I am going to tell you what all I used off camera. Also, whenever I come back, we're going to figure out if this palette knocks one of the top 5 Nomad palettes out of its ranking. I'm excited to see if this one is a contender or not. So I will see you guys at the end. Okay, guys, this is my final look. I love how this turned out, and I know it's another orangey look, but there is the oranges in there that I wanted to play with and the greens, and so I think I got a good combination of all the shadows that are in this palette to kind of show you some looks that you can create with this palette. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over what all I used on my face off camera, and I used the Cosmetics Ride on my lips. I also, in the waterline, used the new gel cream liner from ColourPop in Get Lucid. The highlighter that I used is a Becca highlighter, and this one is in Own Your Light. My foundation that I am wearing is Champagne from the Tom Ford 3.7. The blush that I'm wearing is Sandy Cheeks, the Melt Cream Blush Light. So yeah, that's what came up with this final look, and I love it. It's very summery, but you know what? If I wore this and I had a sweater on and it was fall, I think it could be fall as well. So that's really, really cool that this palette will just go for every season. This is an everyday palette, and it's pretty amazing. The colors are just gorgeous, and they all just go so well together. There's so many different combinations of eye looks that you can come up with this color palette. So I really do enjoy that. All right, guys. So now the question is, let's review. This is my #1 Nomad palette ever made. And the other 4 in no particular order, that are part of my top 5 are these additional 4. And so I would have to knock one of these out to put that one in. So the only one that I can think of that is even remotely similar would be this one here, because it does have those neutrals, but it has pops of color in it as well. So do I go with the more green and orange palette? But this one has oranges as well. So I'm sitting here going, they're 2 totally different color schemes, but oh, which one? Honestly, looking at them side by side, I think this one's going to beat it out, because I do enjoy the greens. This does have a pop of red, but the shimmers I like better on this one. And then it has like this one here, and I have a hard time fitting that color in with the rest of them. I think I'm going to go with this one. I don't know. I really like this one too. Okay, I'm just going to bite the bullet. I'm going to say this one, because I think that, like I said, this one year round, and I love that pop of red in there, but I really don't wear red eyeshadow that often. So I think this would be an everyday palette, and that's why I enjoy this one. So this one is going to go in the top 5. And this one is out of the top 5, but it's probably 6. and then you know what I'm going to do? If you like this, let me know down in the comments section. This is something that I came up with. Let me know if you like it, because then when the new release comes out, we'll see if it fits into this top 5 and if we have to kick another one out, or if we're keeping all of these and kicking the new one out. So this one is still my #1. So it didn't make it to #1, that's for sure. But I want to see if something knocks this one out of first place. That's what I'm excited to find out about. So these are my top 5 now. Nomad palettes, and all for different reasons, and they're all different. They're all super different. So I'm happy with that. Yeah, I think that's a good top 5. All right, guys, tell me what you guys think of this new video series that I'm going to start. And if you're new here, please subscribe. I'd love to have you a part of this family. If you watch these videos, if you hit subscribe, that means the world to me. It doesn't cost you a thing, but it also just makes a huge difference for me here on my channel. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you liked the 2 looks. Let me know down in the comments also which one was your favorite, the first look or the second look. And until the next time I see you guys, I hope glitter catches your eye but never goes in it. Take care. Bye-bye.